Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. As it looks like Wan Bissaka's time is up at Manchester United. Some concrete reports coming in that Wan Bissaka could be leaving to go to West Ham very, very soon as Ineos crack on with the outgoings as well as the incomings at Manchester United. Loads going on today. Some real truth in this story that Wan Bissaka could be going to West Ham, with West Ham very interested in bringing the right back to them. How do you replace him? I mean, we would have to replace him as there would only be Dalot for the right back situation. Does this mean that Frimpong could be on his way to Manchester United? Is he the right transfer? The Turkish fullback that Manchester United have been looking at, could he play both sides for Manchester United? Going to get into that. Also, some updates on Yoro. He's now in Manchester, according to Ducker from The Telegraph, which means the medical could be happening anytime and we could get the here we go very, very quickly. Also, some news surrounding Yoro's wage and also some stories coming out about Everton being surprised at how much we've paid for Yoro. Well, I'm going to talk about that because Yoro is an absolutely unbelievable prospect, and yes, we've overpaid a little bit, but I'm very happy with the deal, and I want to kind of squash a few stories that are coming out on that, which I just don't think have the most truth in them, to be honest. But get in the comments down below, get the chats in. It's a very, very busy day so far and we're only at 2 o'clock and there's more to come. We've got the Xerxes interview coming later, and I also think as well we are going to get the here we go for Yoro anytime, and that deal could be done so quick because, you know, once the medical's done, he's holding up the shirt, deal's announced, payment plans in place with Lille, that could happen really quick, so keep your eyes out on that. But Wan Bissaka to leave Manchester United, get in the chat down below how you feel about it. Do you think it's the right move? And who would you bring in to replace him? So, our reporter from the United Stand, Sam C, reports 10 days ago, by the way, 10 days ago, put out that it was an exclusive that West Ham will make a first bid for Wan Bissaka this week, a source told him. And he's now giving me some background on this as well, with other people coming out with this story today, literally about an hour ago. So the background is West Ham are very interested in Wan Bissaka, but also have other options in case it falls through, so there is no pressure on them to go high with the bid. Deal is advancing, bid will go in, conversations happened over the deal the other week. So Wan Bissaka apparently also, through the grapevine we've heard, would be very keen on this move. I think it would be a great move for Wan Bissaka. He'd be starting for West Ham, who are a good Premier League club. I think that's his level. I think he'd be utilised really well there. Got a new manager in, got a decent team. I think it'd be a great move for Wan Bissaka. But the money, how much money would we get for Wan Bissaka considering there is only a year left on his deal? Well, it's coming from TalkSport that West Ham are in advanced talks with Manchester United over a move for Wan Bissaka. United are willing to sell Wan Bissaka this summer and are looking for a fee of over 15 million. It's looking at around £15 million for Wan Bissaka is what the fee we would get. Paid about 50 for him, has only got a year left on his deal. 15 million is low. It's low, let's be real. It's low for Wan Bissaka. I think he offers quite a lot. Don't think he's good enough for Manchester United, my personal opinion. I think he's got one skill that is really useful and can be utilised really well. We saw it in the FA Cup final against Doku. We've seen it in games before. He's very good one-on-one versus wingers that are going to go at you. He is. But over the course of a season and ultimately for the places that we want to go and the football we want to be playing, Wan Bissaka isn't the right profile for Manchester United. So I think it is a good move to sell him. And you know what? He's going to go on a free next year if we don't get money in now. So it's 15 million or keep him for another year. Is it worth keeping him for another year to miss out on 15 million? What is it worth to you? I think you might as well just get the 15 million pound in now. It is low. I see you guys in the chat saying it should be around 20 to 25. There's a year left on his deal. I say 15, give us 5 million add-ons to take it up to 20. I say deal done, considering the fact Man United want to get a fullback in that has attributes that can do both parts of the game. They can defend really well, but they can also go forward really well as well. And I feel like the modern fullback, there actually is more. There's more eyes on what. Of course, you've got to be able to defend as a fullback, of course. But going forward and being able to play as part of a system in possession-based football is super important for a fullback, super, super important. And Man United probably going to want to go for that sort of profile. And if they can get money in for Wan Bissaka now, yes, it's a small fee, but you might as well get it in. And plus, the player wants to, I think the player wants regular game time. That's what we've heard. The player wants regular game time. He could easily just sit back and go on a free next year, and he'll probably get more money in terms of a signing on fee and wages potentially. But if he goes this summer, it's because he wants to play. And West Ham, I think, is a really good destination for him. So I expect to see this deal accelerate quite quickly. And who else could go? You know, McTominay, Fulham are right in that race. We don't know what McTominay's thoughts are on it, but they have initially put a bid in of 17 million that Man United have rejected. Weighing up to going for another one. Lindelof, Maguire, these could be next on the agenda. So get in the comments down below what you think. A lot of people are saying 30 mil in today's market. You're not getting 30 mil for Wan Bissaka with a year left on his deal. You're just not. I'm sorry, you're just not. I think 20 would be decent. It's probably going to end up being 15 with maybe some add-ons to get up to 20. Because you've got to understand, like, if Wan Bissaka was tied into a contract, yeah, I'd expect like 25. Maybe going up to 30 with add-ons. But he's got a year left on his deal. He will go for free next year, so it's going to be a smaller fee. We've got... God, my Wi-Fi has just gone off, which is really fun because now I can't see the chat. It keeps doing this. It's so frustrating. 1 second, guys. Sorry about this. But get in the comments down below. Why is it not working? I'm just going to connect to my phone's data. Is that working? Get in the comments down below what right back you would take to replace Aaron Wan Bissaka, because I've seen a lot of people already say, you know, Jeremy Frimpong, he's got a release clause. Is that the right back that Manchester United are going to go for? Right back is a very loose term. He's played right wing all season for Leverkusen and sometimes has been one of the furthest players forward. I was having a little chat with Goldbridge before the show and he's praying that we get Frimpong in. Everybody knows Mark's thoughts on Frimpong. He thinks he can play right back in Erik ten Hag's system. I'm personally not so sure. I know he's had many, many arguments and disagreements with some people in the chat about this subject. I like Frimpong as a utility player. I think he's too good to be a utility player for Manchester United. He's such a good player, but I think he's the perfect player to play wing back in a back five. If we were getting Frimpong in, I'd be thinking, are we going to a back five next season? I mean, how are we expecting to use him? Are we signing him as a right winger? Because obviously we didn't go and get Elise. I mean, what are we signing Frimpong really to be a right back? Because in the Premier League, it is tough. And of course, he's got unbelievable attributes going forward. And he has played right back in his career. He's played right back when he was playing for Celtic in the Scottish League. He has played right back before. But as his career has progressed, and where he's played his best football has been further forward. So is that the right profile for Manchester United to go for? He has got a brilliant release clause, which means for the talent that he is, you would get him for a really good price. But is he the right profile to replace Aaron Wan Bissaka with? I'm not so sure. The Turkish fullback, which I really don't want to butcher his name, but his first name is Ferdi from Fenerbahce. Manchester United have been keeping an eye on. He's a left back, but he is right-footed, if I'm not mistaken, so he can play both sides. Could we buy him as somebody who can cover the left back and the right back areas? As we know, Erik ten Hag loves someone who can play multiple positions, potentially. But ideally, if Wan Bissaka is going, I think you really want to get someone in who can compete with Dalot. For me, Dalot's absolutely a sound option as your first choice. He was brilliant last season. He's still young. I think he's about 25. He's still, you know, got his best years to come. Brilliant attitude. People talk about him as future captain. But ideally, if you're selling Wan Bissaka, you want to bring someone in who can really compete with him and take us up to the next level. So get in the comments down below what you guys think. Some people in the chat are saying Konsa because he can play right back and centre back and we need another centre back. It's not an awful shout. It's not an awful shout. I wouldn't do it. And I think Aston Villa would want silly money because obviously he was part of the English setup this season. But it's not an awful shout. I know a lot of people want someone who can play multiple positions. I just want a fullback that can contribute going forward if we're going to bring someone in to replace Wan Bissaka, because that's where Wan Bissaka falls short. He cannot contribute you anything going forward, and that's what we need. If Dalot, God forbid, is injured or would have to be moved to left back because of injuries, which we don't want, you want someone who can play right back at an elite level, can take the ball off the back four, he's comfortable in his first touch. can play a possession-based system out from the back, can defend well, but also is putting crosses in for your striker, is linking up play going forward. Dallow's excellent at it. He comes into midfield really well, he takes the ball off the back four really well. His crossing can improve and he can do more going forward, to be fair. But technically, he's a footballer, he works really well. We need someone like that. And if anything, he's actually, even more progressed it going forward, because I still think Dallow can add more to his game in that sense. But Dallow's improved so much defensively as well. Defensively, he's honestly sound, apart from he does have a few hiccups here and there, and he has got inconsistencies still, but overall had a really good season for Manchester United last year. Toad Kane says, modern football is fluid and fullbacks move up anyway. Frimpong gives options in right wing back, right back and right wing. He's also young and for the price, perfect for me. You're absolutely right with that super chat. Positions are fluid, and Erik ten Hag loves a versatile player. He's Dutch. Erik ten Hag also loves a Dutch player. And I think Frimpong is one of the first names we were linked to when Erik ten Hag was coming into Manchester United. I remember we were linked to him in the January before Ten Hag actually got officially announced, when we were deciding between Ten Hag and Pochettino to be permanent manager. Frimpong has been linked to Manchester United for a long time. He wants to come back to Manchester. That is no secret. He wants to play in the Premier League. It's likely he's going to leave Leverkusen this season. That is certainly one to watch for the price, especially because Ineos are loving doing deals around a good price at the moment. And we were told they're looking at players with a release clause, with 1 year left on the deal, good, smart signings. We're not going to be able to sign a right winger because of our budget. He could also play in that position. It's definitely something to watch. I just think in a back four in the Premier League, it's a lot to ask of Frimpong, especially due to his height. Not being heightist, but I'd love him to come in and do it. Look at Trent for Liverpool. He's not defensively good at all, in my opinion, but I still consider him as one of the best right backs in the world. I think he's fantastic, because going forward, it's like having Kevin De Bruyne at right back. He's so good in what he gives you going forward. So you've got to play to play your strengths, really. And the pace of Frimpong as well is excellent. B. Vilaxi says, we are making a mistake. Dallow and Wan Bissaka offer us different things. I hope we won't regret this. Wan Bissaka going forward is something we can teach. I don't agree with you on the something we can teach. For me, Wan Bissaka is the same player that we bought from Crystal Palace a few years ago. I don't feel like he's developed that much. I think he's a solid player. I think he'll be really good for West Ham, and I think he's a good player, and I think he's really good at what he's good at. But I don't think he's developed going forward, and I don't think you're going to see that from him in his career, to be honest with you. I think Wan Bissaka is what he is. Whereas Dallow, I feel like from where we bought him to where he is now, he's just gone up and up and up and up and come on leaps and bounds. So they are different players for sure, but United need to take it to the next level. And Dallow's got the ability to go here, and he's got all the attributes, whereas Wan Bissaka, for me, is just going to stay here now. And we really want to be going on an upwards trajectory. Miles Doig says 15 mil is a steal, best one-on-one defender I've seen. I know Wan Bissaka is a bit of a fan favourite, especially in the United Stand community. T1NY says, Beth, if we were to sign both De Ligt and Yoro, who starts for you? I think De Ligt starts, Yoro competes. But I do feel like we must have given Yoro some sort of guarantee on game time to secure him over Real Madrid. It'll be interesting for sure. I think 18 is as a centre-back, is young to come into the Premier League and start straight away for Manchester United, but he is super talented and I'm very excited about this player. But I think we have to secure De Ligt as well to give us a little bit of depth and give us options. I think De Ligt would start if we signed both, but I think Yoro would absolutely be in with a shout. Joshua Harding, thank you for your super chat. Leigh Anglim says, I think selling Wan Bissaka is a mistake. Great backup. I think we should focus on the left back, not the right back. But if the player wants to go and it's your opportunity to get a fee in for him, I understand why Ineos are doing it. I think I'm going to be honest, I agree with moving him on. And I know that a lot of people do like Wan Bissaka and wanting to stay, but I think it's the right time if it's the last opportunity to cash in. And if he doesn't fit Ten Hag's system the way he wants a fullback to play. We have Darren Mulaney saying would love Dumfries at United. Me too. I think Dumfries is really good. Dom Nettle says Ashworth madness all happening today, isn't it? This is what happens when you get the right people in place. Like, you actually start moving. Like, literally, by the end of July, we could have Greenwood and Wan Bissaka gone with potentially a Lindelof sale. We could have Xerxes and Yoro through the door, and we could be moving on. We could even have another player in by then as well. Like, you would expect us to move on to somebody else, maybe Ugarte or Delit. We're actually moving and we're actually going somewhere, which is exciting. And in the background, we've done the Kumbuala and the Donny van der Beek deals as well, and getting things moved on that, whilst also working out the Erik ten Hag and Sancho stuff to basically move on from that saga. Jacob Thorpe says Frimpong doesn't work as a right back in a back four. Dumfries would be a much better option if we're signing a Dutch right back. It is mad. Like, if someone said to me now you can sign Dumfries or Frimpong, I would say Dumfries, and I know so many people would disagree with me. I was watching Dumfries in the Euros and I thought, like, I liked him a few years ago and I still like him now. I think he's really good, but I don't know if he's up for sale in the way that for the price that we'd want to be able to get him for. Conzi says Frimpong played most of his career as a right back in a back four for Celtic and was great, one of the standouts. That's why Bayer Leverkusen bought him. Yeah, one of our graphic designers, Matt, was telling me about his career for Celtic, and he did play right back really well there. So you never know. I'm just saying, from what he did last season, I don't see him as a right back personally. Fred Flintstones, do you think Yoro will play just as a centre back? I heard he can play right back as well. Yeah, I see him playing as a centre back. Lee Cape Town says he's not a smart signing. We need a defender, not a winger. We got too much wingers. I won't mind Frimpong for that, but not a defender. Gray Sheridan says we need a better shape that will leave us less exposed. That's so true as well. Like, when you're playing in a cohesive system, it's much easier to fit in the likes of a Frimpong and cover up the weaknesses he has defensively when you're playing in a system that constantly has possession and he's constantly moving the ball forward. For example, if he played as a right back for City, he'd probably slot in quite seamlessly actually, but United haven't yet figured out that system and haven't figured out a fluent way of playing that lets us dominate games, which means it would be harder, especially on the counter-attack, for Frimpong to be able to adjust to that position, in my opinion, but I might be proved wrong. I really do. I also look at the Premier League and I'm like, look at City's back four. Like, they basically have 4 centre-backs playing as the back four. Walker can play as centre-back, he's a right-back. You know, you've got 2 big centre-backs in the middle. You've got Ake and Gvardiol playing left-back, 2 centre-backs basically. I mean, look at Arsenal, who are another top team. Ben White was a centre-back, moved to right-back. I mean, you've got back fours that are really physical, that are at the top of the Premier League, and that's also something you need to look at. If we sign Frimpong, I think the player is an excellent player, and it's a really good price. But I think you sign him as a sort of utility player that can play right back, can play right wing back, gives us an option to change systems, but also can slot in at right wing as well, which is probably more of his preferred position after last season. But for me, if you said to me, where do you think Frimpong would flourish in the Premier League, I would say as a right wing back in a back 5. But I don't see Manchester United changing to that. Franklin says, is Yoro deal done? Why no here we go? Can it still be hijacked? I mean, I think because Ornstein got the drop on it, I think Romano was just waiting a little bit to do the here we go. But also, I think because there was so much competition between Real Madrid and Man United, I don't think Romano wants to do the here we go until it's absolutely certain that Yoro actually is signed the contract for Manchester United, because you never know, Real Madrid could come in and match Manchester United's offer at the last minute and Yoro would have a decision to make. But we've got some news coming in that that's very unlikely to happen, and Yoro should really be here we go any time. So get your comments in. Sneaky Deal says bring in João Cancelo for cheap. I'm not joking, I would take João Cancelo in a heartbeat. And that's another controversial one. He's like best mates with Bruno. He's unbelievably talented. I know he had that falling out with Pep and he played for City, but I think he's great. It won't happen though. Not a chance on earth. Franklin says, "Oh, I've done that one as well." And yeah, what do you all think of the Turkish fullback as well? Ferdi Kadioglu, is that how you say his name? 24 years old, apparently being monitored by Manchester United from Fenerbahce, born in the Netherlands, plays shock with Erik ten Hag in the building, and but plays for the Turkish national team. And a lot of people excited about this player. Predominantly plays as a left back, but can play both sides. People were saying we'd go in for him as a left back, but maybe he will be a signing that could play left back and right back and kind of fill the gap of both of them positions for Manchester United. Get in the comments what you think about that. But just some stuff on the Lenny Yoro situation, because we have had more information come out about Lenny Yoro, and the here we go, like I said, he's coming anytime. And the reason I'm saying that is because Fabrizio Romano has actually said the here we go for Lenny Yoro is coming very, very soon and probably will come today. Yoro has now accepted the Manchester United contract. He also said that Real Madrid's message is, we will not pay any money. We have our strategy. If you want to come, you follow our strategy. So Real Madrid standing firm on the initial offer that they put in for Lenny Yoro and are not planning to match Manchester United's offer or go any higher. If Yoro wanted to come to Real Madrid, they are saying, wait for us and follow our strategy. Yoro has decided to come to Manchester United, do his medical, and he's going to be a Manchester United player. And to that I say, very good decision, because honestly, as good as Real Madrid are, and they're absolutely unbelievable, and I can understand why I was prioritising them. They've just lifted the second Champions League. Sorry, not the second champion. Is it the second Champions League in a row? No, City won it last year. They've just lifted another Champions League. I don't know which number they're on, but they're on a lot. They're on a lot of Champions Leagues. They've just won La Liga. They've got a team of Galacticos. Mbappe's, got a stadium announcement. I get it. I get the pull with Real Madrid. There's always been that pull. But, at Real Madrid, there's no guarantee over game time. You are just another name. They've got a team of Galacticos. At Man United, you still have your dream of playing for Madrid. You come to Manchester United, the fan base instantly are going to adore you when you come into that starting 11 to play with Lisandro Martinez. You've got a project there where no one's expecting you to win the league straight away. You can build with the project, and I think he will build with the project. And, if Manchester United get back on track to where we want to be, which is competing for Premier Leagues, and is it back in the Champions League and competing, you are one of the names that has taken us there. I feel like it's a really good place for him to kind of build up his career and be a really important player to an important project, to still one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in the world. Real Madrid and Man United are the two biggest clubs in the world, in my opinion. So I think it's a great, great deal for him. He's going to be on 115 grand a week, which at 18 is extremely good, but for Manchester United it's not huge wages considering the wage bill that we have. I think that's a decent wage. He's got a structure where his wage is going to be going up year by year. Also got performance-based add-ons, which gives him that motivation. And I think his contract is 5 years with an option of a 6th year. 5 years' time, he's 23, nearly 24. If he stays at Man United and he's doing fantastically well, great. If he's doing fantastically well and then maybe Madrid come knocking, he's probably going to be worth about 80, 85 million at that point. So Man United, it's a win-win situation. And for Yoro, I feel like it's a win-win situation. The only thing he has to do is come in and perform, which I think he has the capability to do. I honestly do. His attributes are, he's got amazing attributes. He's got a very high ceiling. I'm super excited about this transfer. Also, as well, what I was thinking before is, obviously, Ineos part own Nice are in the French league. They'll have people that have watched a lot of Yoro this season, very well scouted. They know what they're buying with Yoro, and it's one of the best young talents in the world, to put it, and that's not me exaggerating. Real Madrid wanted him, Liverpool wanted him and pulled out of that race because they thought that he only wanted to go to Real Madrid. Man United, I do think, have a bigger pull than Liverpool. I do, even though Liverpool have been a better team for years on end. I think Liverpool is still a big club, but I think Man United are just absolutely huge, and we still have that pull, which is nice to see. Binu Kindu says, what wage is Xerxes on? If I'm not mistaken, I think Xerxes on around 90 grand a week. His interview coming soon as well. Delit is a must, says Otto. Should we do a poll as well? Should we do a poll on the right back situation? Should we do a poll over, should Frimpong be the right back to replace Wan Bissaka? Let's do that as a poll, because I'd be interested to see what you guys say on that. Let me have a look. Someone said, I thought Xerxes was on 50 grand a week. That was what originally came out, but it turned out that it was sort of misreported, and he's actually on 90 grand a week, which still I think is a is a good wage to bring Xerxes in on, to be honest with you. It's a lot higher than what he was on at Bologna, but it's nothing that's going to break Manchester United's wage structure, and you still have areas to go up. And for a 23-year-old, I think it's a good wage for him. But in terms of Manchester United, I think it's a good wage to bring a player in on. A very good wage, considering what we've given players in the past. So it looks like Yoro is nearly done. Medical, I expect to take place any time now. But yeah, I wanted to bring this in as well. Yoro was Liverpool's prime target, but they were convinced he only wanted to move to Real Madrid, so they decided they had no chance and gave up. Manchester United end up getting that deal done. You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. Next thing I wanted to... Someone just said in the chat, Frimpong replaces Anthony on the right wing. Considering how good he was last season, like, look at Frimpong's numbers compared to Anthony's last season on the right wing. I mean, he would be able to play multiple positions, and that would be a good pull factor for Ten Hag. But I wanted to bring this in from Samuel Luckhurst. He did a report saying that figures at Everton are surprised Manchester United have agreed a steep fee for a defender 3 years younger than Jared Branthwaite, who is out of contract next year, has no international experience and plays in League One. I mean, trust there to be a negative spin on this, honestly. I mean, we've just signed one of the best prospects in Europe, and next thing you know, there's a negative article about it coming out. And also, I think there was a reported fee of 70 million euros. To my knowledge, it's 60 million euros. So I don't know where the 70 is coming from. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I feel like we've been told by a lot of sources close to the deal that it's around 60 million euros, the overall fee for Yoro. But on this, I would say the difference between Branthwaite and Yoro, and I think Branthwaite is a good centre-back with a high ceiling, by the way, is Yoro across Europe is widely considered the best young centre-back with the highest ceiling. We were competing with Real Madrid. We had to do something to get this deal across the line. When you're competing with Real Madrid, you have to compensate a little bit financially when you're in the position that Manchester United are right now, which is with Europa League football coming off a really poor league finish. So we did overpay a little bit, but because we were competing with Real Madrid, there was no other club in the race to sign Jared Branthwaite. No other club. No other club. And plus, okay, he's played in League One, but didn't Saliba win League One Defender of the Year or even Player of the Year? I can't remember what it was. And then came into Arsenal and was the best centre-back in the league. So did Saliba not earn his stripes as a really good centre-back prospect while he was on loan in the French league? Or did that not happen? So I think this is bitterness, really, from Everton's side. I think Jared Branthwaite is a brilliant defender, but you were asking too much money for him. You honestly were. And if you wanted to get money in for him, you should have negotiated with us instead of just holding out for a stupid fee. Also, it was reported that Everton wanted at least £70 million. £70 million. We have not paid £70 million for Yoro. We have paid €60 million, which works out at around, what, £55 million overall? Something along them lines. So we've actually paid less money for a prospect that had more competition. Liverpool, PSG, Real Madrid and Man United were all in the race to sign Yoro. Manchester United had to do something a little bit financially. Plus, you're saying he's 3 years younger than Branthwaite. Thanks for reminding us. We've got a player with 3 years extra. 3 years younger. To think in 5 years' time he's only going to be 23. We could have signed one of the biggest gems in Europe right now. It's a huge coup for Manchester United. And people who know the stuff about football are saying this is massive for Manchester United. So Everton might be surprised that we bid more for Yoro than we did for Branthwaite, but I'm not, because we've got people in place that actually know what they're doing. We've got Barada, we've got Dan Ashworth, we've got Wilcox, we've got a team of people who know what they're doing. And as good as Branthwaite is, and I would have loved to bring him in for the left-sided centre-back option, to add depth to Lisandro Martinez, and I still would like it if we went for him for the right fee. Everton were asking way too much, and Manchester United said, all right then, you hold out for that fee with the clubs that are also lining up, which is zero. We'll go and compete for Yoro, get him from Real Madrid, get him from Liverpool, one of the most talented young centre-backs in Europe, and we'll bring him to Manchester United for a lower fee than what you were asking for anyway. And that's what we've done. Have we slightly overpaid on Yoro with a year left on his deal? Yes, we have. We have. But sometimes you've got to do that when you're in the position that we are right now and you're competing with some of the most successful clubs in the world. So that's what we've had to do. And I'm very happy about this signing. There's not a single part of me that isn't happy about this signing. I think it's bold. I think there's a lot of pressure on Yoro to come in and I think people will be expecting a lot. He isn't quite the finished article, but he's got so much potential, he's got so much talent. He's already excelled massively in the time that he's been at Lille, and there's only more to come from him. So I do think we have to go and get De Ligt off the back of it. I still think we have to go and get De Ligt, and I'm holding out for us to go and do that deal. But honestly, the way that Ineos are moving, I can see us selling Lindelof or Maguire off and bringing De Ligt in. Like, I can see that happening. So, yeah. Exciting times, and I just wanted to put that story to bed because I didn't like the negative spin on this. We have just pulled off one of the boldest statement signings that we've done in a long, long time. Like, you have got a signing from Real Madrid that they wanted to sign. Like, that should be spun as a huge positive. So Everton might be upset that they've not managed to squeeze 70 million out of us for Branthwaite, which they would have thought they've been able to do in the past, because of the way that we've overpaid in the past. But instead we've gone, all right, we'll go and buy one of the best young talents in Europe for less than what you were asking for. See how far you get with £70 million bids for Branthwaite this summer. And I love that from Ineos and I love that from Manchester United. Get in the poll down below. What do you think though? Should Frimpong replace Wan Bissaka? Is that the right move, or would you go for somebody else? I don't think he's a right backer for the Premier League, but I would love to be proved wrong. Thomas Hopley says, for me, the Yoro deal, we are getting a class player, but also a class human being. He wanted Madrid, but wouldn't allow them to mug off what he loved. I mean, a lot of people saying why. I've seen people saying, why are we going for a centre-back that didn't want Manchester United straight away? And like, I've said it a million times, it's Real Madrid, and they'd been in talks for a long time. If it was any other club, I'd be a bit like about it, but it's Real Madrid, and he's ultimately chosen to come to Manchester United. So the player wants to come, and I think he's going to be committed to the cause, absolutely. He's got so much to prove at 18 years old, and this is what happens as well when you sign players that are hungry. Like, you go and sign a Yoro on 115 grand a week at 18 years old with bonuses added onto his contract. You are signing a player that is hungry to lift trophies. He's hungry to prove himself in his career. He's only just at the start of his career. You go and sign someone at 29, 30 and put them on a massive wage. Some players are just hungry throughout their career, the biggest professionals. But a lot of players are like, you know what? I'm on a really good wage here. I've already had the majority of my career, and they don't have that same hunger and motivation. And that's why I love the fact we're signing younger players as well. I still think, like I said, we need that experienced leader in De Ligt. I think you need a balance. 100%, I think you need a balance. But I mean, next season we're going into the season with, you know, Rasmus, Garnacho, Mainu, Amad Diallo, Xerxes, Yoro, all really young players. And then you've got the likes of the Martinezes, the Dallos, that are like mid-20s now and still not even hitting like the prime years, or just hitting the prime years as well, to balance that out. Then you've got obviously the Bruno, who is now really a proper senior member of that dressing room, who's going to captain the side. I think it's looking good the way that we're building our squad. And what I'm most excited about for Yoro as well, not what I'm most excited about, I'm most excited to see him in the Premier League for us next season, of course. But what I'm really excited about is when this deal gets done, he's going to end up going on the US tour, it's looking like. So we get to see him before the season starts. He gets to embed himself. He actually gets a pre-season. He gets to get familiar with Erik ten Hag's style of play. Like, he gets to play in a Man United shirt before the pressure's actually fully on, which I really like, because this is something we've neglected before as well. Like, how often have we just spent months working on a deal, say we're not going to go for it, and then cave in and pay stupid amounts, and the players coming in like a week into the season or 2 weeks into the season, whereas it looks like Yoro's going to go on the tour, which is really exciting too. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. So Darren Mullaney says, Beth, do you think we will sign a second defender, and who and You've said Hutar could be a good defender. I think you mean Jonathan Tah would be a good defender. Well, I know Bayern Munich want Jonathan Tah, and I still think we'll sign De Ligt. I don't know if it's just, again, for me it is a gut feeling, but you guys, if you've been watching the show, last week I said my gut feeling is we're going to get Yoro. I just had a gut feeling about it. So hopefully my sixth senses are guiding me right this transfer window as well. Who's next, says Simon Manders. Who's next? I think we should be going for a midfielder next / another centre-back. But if Wan Bissaka goes, we'll have to replace him. And the Wan Bissaka deal could escalate quite quickly with, I think, Manchester United very open to selling him and the player wanting to leave to get game time. Should Frimpong replace Wan Bissaka? I'm just going to have a look how you guys are going in the chat on that. Just going to quickly check as well if there's been any more updates come in with the 2 p.m. show. No, it looks like we're all good for now. So it looks like that is all for now, the afternoon show. Wan Bissaka, the outgoings continue. I love the fact we're working on both sides of the coin, incomings and outgoings. Get in the comments down below. In the chat now, if you could sign one player next, who would you be signing? Let me know. And also, do we know the results of the poll? Should Frimpong replace Wan Bissaka? Yes or no? They're not coming up for me, but I'd love to know. 81% yes. So the chat are very pro Jeremy Frimpong. I mean, am I surprised? Mark wants Frimpong. Majority of you guys want Frimpong. It's tough for me because it's so hard for me to say no to Frimpong because he's such a good player and he's again young with a really high ceiling. But I don't think he's the profile to replace Wan Bissaka. But we'll see, and I'll trust Ineos and I'll trust Ten Hag if they do that because I'm sure they'll have a plan for him. And so far, I'm very happy with the way that them two parties are working together within that transfer window. But look, everyone, get a like on the video, get your comments in down below. We could be live anytime for the Here We Go, and we expect updates on Yoro very soon. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next one.